Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be flipping through April in my 2026 journal. Let's go ahead and dive right in. You guys, I cannot believe we're already into May. This year is going by so fast. Here's a check-in on what my journal looks like chunk-wise. It is definitely chunking up, but not too bad. I'm hopeful that by the end of the year, it's still manageable enough to write in. If you are new to my videos, this is the daily planner. It's an undated daily planner from Sterling Ink, which is very similar to a Hobonichi cousin in its layout, except that it does not have the weekly pages. Last year, I've been using the Hobonichi cousin for a few years, and then last year I used the Avec system, which is the Hobonichi cousin in 2 books, which I absolutely loved. And I would instantly get this as a 2-book system if it existed. They didn't have that available, but because it doesn't have the weekly section, it's not as thick. It's still the Tomoe River paper, the thin, nice paper. The layout of the pages is a little bit different, as you can see from the Hobonichi cousin, in that it doesn't have the quote space at the bottom. It's a little more minimal, so you have more space for your journaling, but it's essentially the same. And I decided to give it a try in the 1-book system because it doesn't have those weekly spreads, which has given me a lot more space in my planning and journaling routine to not have that additional spread to fill out. So let's go ahead and start flipping through how April went. And just a heads up that I do have setup videos in my monthly plan with me's where you can see kind of before the month and how I set it up. And I do have flip throughs of all my previous months. Here's my annual vision board at the beginning and my annual goals. Those obviously haven't changed. And then for the Calendex page. So this page is very similar to how it shows in the Hobonichi cousin. I've decided to use this as a sort of index of what I have in each of my journal pages. I do include my media reviews in here. So if there's a media review on that page, I'm going to highlight it. I have purple for TV and movies and blue for books. I didn't review any books in April because I didn't finish any books in April. I only read one and it is like 600 something pages and it is not that good. So I've been really not doing well with my reading. So I'm hoping to do better in May, but I can see the blue kind of missing, which is a good kind of point to me to kind of see that it's missing. For whatever reason, there was another book that I read that I just never reviewed earlier in the year. And I don't know why. I think it was because it was like the beginning of my travel and I just kind of forgot about it. So maybe at some point I will come back and add that, but probably not. But I just like having like all of the books in here. Pink is for travel. And I did do a quick little trip to Brooklyn for work in April. So I have that. When I do my travel, I do travel journaling. And I just use this book in place of a separate book. So my daily pages become my travel journal pages. At the bottom here, I'm adding in a photo of me from the month. I did not take any good photos in April. So I just had this one mirror selfie where my face is mostly obscured, but it was the only photo I had. You can see that my paper has kind of changed. I have switched to using this sticker paper this month and I love it. My friend Jen of Jen Boom Creates recommended that I switch to this paper, and I haven't been a fan of sticker paper. I was using this matte photo paper before from Epson, which I do really like. It is a nice thin paper and it prints a good quality photo, and I like that it's matte because you can write on it, you can layer it really easily. But she showed me this sticker paper and it does print really great quality on it, and I loved that it was so thin. What I didn't like about it is it's transparent and you can see the grid lines through it. So I found from that same brand, they have one that does not have the transparent, and it's still just as thin, or at least it feels like it, maybe slightly thicker. I can't really tell, but it's thinner than this matte paper, even though this matte paper is thin. And I was really just concerned with bulk. So I switched. So you'll see that in here as we flip through my spreads, and I will link that in the description box below if you're interested in getting it yourself. Moving to the monthly, I've been doing my monthlies the same for the past couple years. And essentially I just pick kind of one icon per day, sometimes two. And I think I'm actually maybe going to do two or so, do it a little different in May and just do more collage. But essentially I'm trying to pick one icon per day that fits that day. So like here I have flowers, so I was probably doing yard work. Here I went to Trader Joe's. I got a sticker from there. I did some baking. I had sushi, had pizza, ice cream, journaling. I took the cat to the vet. So different things like that. I'm also adding in words just to get an idea of kind of what was going on when there were bigger things, not necessarily bigger, like sushi takeout's not a big thing, but just something I wanted to remember. And I really like how this came out. The washi and this across the top is from Cocoa Daisy. And I did set this page up in my monthly plan with me so you can see how that came together. Because this is undated, I have to stamp the dates on here, which is totally fine. I just do it in my setup. I would kind of prefer it was pre-set up, but that's okay. And then I add the name of the month here using magazine cutouts, which is something I love to do. These stickers and icons here I get from all over the place. I do have a whole collection of stickers in my stash that are flat stickers, and I use those to kind of go through to figure out what goes in here. I have some smaller ones that I keep in the sticker box here. And in here, I have these organized by theme, and these are kind of what I use a lot in my take a note and other, when I use smaller stickers. But I also have some larger sticker sheets that aren't organized by theme or anything. They're just flat stickers, and I flip through it a couple times a month to kind of figure out what I need to do for each day. These stickers come from a variety of places. A lot of these ones are Cocoa Daisy. I have some that are the Coffee Monster Co. I have some from, these are also Cocoa Daisy. This is Cocoa Daisy. This is Everyday Explorers. This is Allie Edwards. And then some from just like random places. I like to buy stickers from various brands whenever I see them, ones that I think would go well. I also add things cut out from magazines like this and ephemera, whatever I have. It's fun to kind of come up with a piece each day. Okay, so now let's get into the monthly pages. Each month has a blank spread to start it, just like the Hobonichi Cousin. And in the past few years of my Hobonichi Cousin, I use that for a vision board, but I have a different spot where I'm going to do the vision boards this year, which I'll get to when I get to it. But what I did for this instead is use this for monthly goals. So I plan this out in my monthly plan with me for April, and you can see my goals all here, and I'm checking them off kind of as I did things. I was somewhat successful in April with some things, and I kind of didn't do others, but that's okay. Then we're going to get into my daily pages. Because this journal is undated, it does actually have the dates on it because April 1st is always April 1st. What it doesn't have is the day of the week because April 1st is not always a Wednesday, so you can use this in every year. So what I'm doing is finding some sort of sticker or thing to add the day of the week on most days. Sometimes I will draw it myself, and I try to kind of stick with the same theme for the full week. I'm adding in washi tape and larger titles. I like adding in ephemera, so I got this I bought a sticker pack, so I added that in. And then we went to dinner at Simone's Kitchen, and I didn't pick anything up. They didn't have anything ephemerized. So I actually went on Google and just searched Google Images for their logo and printed it on sticker paper, and that actually worked really well to fill that in. So I might do that some more. And then here, just continuing, I like to swatch new washi tape in here when I get it. I also have lots of like memes and things. I screenshot stuff on Instagram all the time that I want in my journal, and then I will just print it. I have been really bad about figuring out how to like give credit to these sources. I always like them and follow them and share the information when I have it, but sometimes I kind of forget where I save something from. So I have now been trying to save them on Instagram so that I can go back and give that original source. So if you see anything you like and you want to know where it's from, let me know and I will give you that information in the comments below. I don't want to, steal anyone's work or represent it as my own. It's not, but I do want to collect it in my journal because it is super pretty and it's stuff that kind of helps support my story. Here is a rainy day, so I did some doodling and put my collection of things here. I'm trying to do some more like layering. So I have this sticker from my stash. This day I documented day in the life, so I wanted to put that there. I also am adding things from magazines, washi tape, words from magazines. I like to include large words, and usually I do draw them, but sometimes I like to use stickers or magazine cutouts. I really like how this spread came together. Again, I printed out a logo. I think I want to do that a little bit more because I really like adding in ephemera, and I don't always have ephemera from places. This was from a magazine. I was super excited to put that in and pair it with some stickers. I had a lot of fun with that. And then I add in my media reviews in here. So we watched a movie. We watched Scream 4, which was awful. And so I put that in here. We were trying to watch all of the Scream movies, but we fell off after this one. And we had watched 1 through 3 a while ago, like maybe a month or so. And then we finally picked it up again for 4, and it's not good. Sorry if you like them, but they were not for me or my boyfriend. Here I have some ephemera from this honeycomb candy package from Trader Joe's, which I absolutely love. When we went to Trader Joe's last week, they gave me some stickers. So I stuck one here with this. It's a bear eating honey, so it goes with the honeycomb, just to point out that this is from Trader Joe's. I try to do my journaling pages kind of during the day. So I think like on Monday, I did this part in the morning, and then I panic bought an overpriced planner for work. So I stuck that in here, and then I went out to dinner with my friends. So I think I actually came back and did this part a little bit later. I am trying to do my journaling page during the day, but often I will come back and fill in gaps because usually I don't have the time to finish my page. Sometimes I like to journal before bed, but usually it just doesn't work out in my schedule that way. So I just end up filling it in later. Again, I printed the logo from the restaurant we went to. That is something I definitely want to continue doing. I did this a while ago in a previous spread, and I really liked it. When I have a gap, just using some washi tape to kind of fill it in. This was a super frustrating day at work. So I have this like work washi tape that's like kind of sassy. Sorry for the bad language on it. And I just filled that in. We got paid because I work for the government and we don't have a state budget right now, which means my paycheck gets delayed, but it did come through 1 day later. They pass an extender. So until they pass their budget, I don't know when I'm getting paid, but it's the only time that happens. It's very kind of annoying. It was snowing, so I started this page with this little piece in the middle and kind of built around it. And then as I have gaps to fill, I'm adding in quotes and things like that. I talk about this in one of my journaling spreads, but I kind of want to start like typing up some quotes and having these things to reach for when putting my spreads together. I do have this little tray that I keep on my desk, and I usually go through here and kind of fill it in during my monthly plan with me. But I have some magazine cutouts. I have things that I've printed off the internet. Some of them I printed a little bit ago, so they're still in that matte photo paper. Others are on the transparent photo paper, that sticker, and this is like the newest glossy one, just depending on when I printed it. And I also have like things from magazines and stuff. So when I want to put a spread together, I will often pull things from here. But I think I also want to start making some stuff to go in here, like type some quotes up on my typewriter and things like that. So I have that to pull from. This day I didn't journal at all. So what I did instead was an end of Q1 Techo Kaigi kind of check-in. And I had a lot of fun with that. I didn't actually have the time to do it on the 8th. So I think I came back and did it a couple days later. And I figured, after the beginning of April, I was kind of at the end of Q1. So I kind of just wanted to check in. I have not switched up my lineup at all, but I just wanted to do some like reflections and kind of thoughts about it. So you could, if you want to pause and read that. And I think I'm going to share this over on Instagram so that you can see that as well. This day was kind of a rough day. So I just kind of alluded to that with this. washi tape and some like tears. And then I journaled about going to a headache clinic because I finally got into one to treat my migraines. I've talked about that in some of my recent videos, so this is kind of my page about that. Here I added in some ephemera for my new Fjallraven backpack that I ordered. So I just added, it came with like all these like papers and stuff. So I cut out, it came with like a little flyer. I cut things out from that. Grocery day, adding in stickers, another thing printed off the internet. I love Reductress. I follow them on Instagram and I save their things all the time. And then journaling with a fountain pen. So you'll see I was using kind of gel pens in the beginning of the month. I go back and forth from whether or not I really want to use gel pens versus fountain pens. And I was using gel pens for the beginning of the month, and then I just felt like using fountain pens. So I don't really know why I feel one way or the other, but it just goes with whatever I'm feeling. This page, I was using products from Cocoa Daisy. I really like how this one came out. And then here I have some ephemera from my painter. We got the house painted, so I added that in, and some ephemera here from my new planner that showed up. Swatching some washi tape. So I've been trying to add more ephemera, and this one I kind of regret doing. I ordered a bag from Longchamp for my daughter for her birthday, and they had the like branded tape on the outside of the package. So I cut it and stuck it in here, but it curves and like I can't get it to lay flat. So it kind of messes up both pages. So I'm not thrilled with how that came out, but I do like having the ephemera in here. Using another fountain pen with some fountain pen ink from Ferris Wheel Press. If you are interested in picking up inks from Ferris Wheel Press, I am on their creative team. I love their inks so much. They do not pay me to do it. They just send me ink, and I am obsessed with it. I have so much of their ink. It's just such great quality. If you are interested in fountain pen ink and you want to pick something up from them, I do have a link and a code in the description box below. So if you're interested, definitely use that to get yourself a discount. So here, I think this is probably one of my favorite pages this month. I'm not sure why. I think it's just like, sometimes I struggle with laying out my page or my spread, and other times I just don't. I just love how this one came together. I like putting little titles for various like sections, adding in screenshots. This was tax day. If you don't know, I'm a tax attorney, so I felt like I needed to acknowledge it, even though it doesn't really impact my job. But then I had this meme I had saved that drives me crazy because there's kind of a typo in it, but the title is so good. So I'm just going to read the title without the typo. So, breaking: woman not sure if she's doing her taxes or saving her receipts for her junk journal. That is just like, I'm a tax attorney and a junk journaler, so I just had to save it, but taxes, not doing her tax. Okay. We bought tickets for Banff, which we're going in June, and we had to buy shuttle tickets this morning. So I journaled about that. And then the painting, I think, when was it? Started painting on Monday. So one of the big things that happened in April is we got our house painted. And by that, I mean like the interior of the house, like the main living kitchen area. Like a lot of houses, we have a big kind of open floor plan for part of the house. So all of that and the entryway and the halls and stuff. So it was a pretty big painting project. It took more than a week. So I'm providing kind of updates as it happened. And then we ordered this kind of whimsical whale spoon rest for the kitchen off Etsy. And so I doodled that and put this kind of like, shouldn't we add a little more whimsy into our house? This is another page I really liked how it came out. My Fjallraven stuff arrived this day. So I had come back and put all of this stuff here because I actually had just not journaled on this day, and then it arrived here. I was doing some back journaling, and this was the day I ordered it. So I was perfect to kind of use that ephemera to fill that page. I really like how this one came out. I do have a vlog that shares kind of what my weekend was like this weekend, including part of like my journaling. So you can see kind of how my pages come together. So if you're interested in that, I'll link in the description box below. We played pickleball for the first time, adding in something from a magazine. stickers, washi, things, screenshots. Just, I love how this one came out. A lot of these titles, I get questions about what markers I'm using. So I use the Sailor Shikiori markers. These are my absolute favorite. They are just such great quality. They write so perfectly for these larger titles. My only complaint is there are not that many colors. I really hope that they come out with some more colors because I will pick them up instantly. They are a little bit of a higher price point, but in my opinion, they're completely worth it. And then I tend to outline it using the Tombow Funisuke hard tip. I use both the soft and hard tip pretty regularly. These larger words are the soft tip, and the smaller words and the outlines are the hard tip. I do go through hard tips pretty regularly because the tip gets messed up. You have to write just very, very lightly. If you put any pressure, you're going to mess up the tip and need another marker. They are not that cheap, so I try to be very careful when writing with them in hopes that it can last a little bit. Let's see. Here I added some stamping for a title. I don't do that often, partially because I struggle with ink in here. My favorite stamping ink to use is Black StazOn, which doesn't work very well in the Tomoe River paper. What I do have are these ink things. These are the Versa Magic. These work really well in here. They dry quickly, they don't bleed, they barely ghost at all. And the problem though is they don't last. So I bought these, and so I think this is the one I use here, and it's just, I haven't used it that much, but it's already kind of drying out. So I had a really hard time getting a stamp. And then these are the stamps. I use these for alphas. I do like them. I would like to use them more. I just wish that those inks lasted a little better, but I will link all that stuff in the description box below if you're interested in trying it out. This day I had some ephemera from this day, and I just didn't, like, I'd already journaled, so I just stuck it over here. Totally fine. I like how this one came out. Just a mix of doodles, washi tape, journaling, alphas, and ephemera. This is another one of my favorite spreads this month. So this week I decided to doodle the days of the week, which I had a lot of fun with that, adding some larger titles using the soft Tombow Funisuke. I'm back to using gel pen here, you can tell, adding in washi and screenshots printed off the internet, and then drawing this big sun because where I live, it is so dark and gray all of the time. I hate it in the winter. And now that it's getting to be spring, we're having some sunshine more frequently. So every morning where there's sun, it's just so amazing. So I just wanted to document that. These 2 days, this is when I went to Brooklyn for a work trip. So I went down on this day, and then I spent this day in Brooklyn and came home. So I documented that. I added some ephemera that I picked up. This was from the caramels I brought with me, but then I went and got sushi and matcha. So I had that in here. And then here was a screenshot from Brandy Kincaid for Earth Day that I just added this in later because I wanted to document, at least acknowledge that it's Earth Day that day. Here I got some new fountain pen inks. So again, I went back to fountain pens because I was super excited for my new inks. At first, the Sage Serenade was my favorite of the three, but now I think the Evermore Green is. I kind of liked getting two greens at once to kind of have the option to switch between them and compare them. Another movie review. This page and this page, I decided to kind of work a little bit on my kind of layering. I feel like sometimes I struggle with layering just like decor and stuff in my journaling. So I made like a center one here, which I think worked really well. And then I added some ephemera down here that I got later in the day. And then on this side, this one, I did like a column of stuff, like collage down the side. I don't think it came out perfect, but I do kind of like how it worked out. And then did my journaling here. So I journal a little bit about like my journaling layouts and things because I didn't have a ton to say about that day. I do get questions about what I journal about every day because I do, if you like look through here, I do a lot of writing, and sometimes it's about my days. A lot of times it's like little micro stories from the day rather than like, this is how my day went. But other times this is reflection, like this part I think is about my day, and then these ones are reflecting on journaling and my journaling practice. So sometimes it's just whatever is on my mind and doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that day specifically. This day we went to the movies, so I reviewed another movie here. And then this day I didn't have time to do much journaling, but I printed this out from the internet. There was a 30 Greatest Living American Songwriters article from the New York Times, and I wanted to share that. I got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of like interviews and stuff from Taylor Swift. I think it's from the New York Times. Now I'm worried that it's not the New York Times, but there's a lot of Taylor Swift interviews on Instagram related to it, and it's very interesting. And so I wanted to kind of just include this because I thought it was pretty, and it was an article I read, and I watched some of her videos about it, and I liked it, and it filled up some of the page. I tried to doodle my dinner, wasn't the best, but it's okay. And then I added in the stickers from my produce. Then on the last day of the month, we woke up to no electricity, so that's kind of started out my journaling for the day. And then there was this like extra blank page because they always want to end the month on a full spread. So I just used it for some kind of like reflection on my goals, which is something I want to do a bit more. I'm not sure I will do that always in the future, but it's something I liked to kind of fill it in to not have that blank space. I think was it February? One of these months had it, and yeah, February has some extra because they actually have a 29th. And I had planned to maybe print some like extra memes or like doodle some like tweets and stuff on here that I had been saving, but I never got around to it. But maybe I'll go back and do it. And then, so yeah, this is the first time it's happened besides the February 29th. But I'm sure there'll be more. So maybe I'll do reflections or something at that point. And then at the end of each month, there's a full page spread. And that's where I do my vision board for the month. So here's my monthly vision board for April. I did this in my monthly plan with me. So if you want to see the process for this, you can go check out that video. And then we move into May. And then again, like the May vision board is at the end of May. I don't love that the vision board is at the end of the month, but that was the only way to make it work on these blank spreads because there isn't one right before January. This journal just goes straight from the monthlies and jumps right into, well, not January 2nd, jumps right into January 1st. So this is working for me right now. I am really happy with how this journal is going. I do love it so much. It was a little bit of an adjustment from the Hobonichi Cousin because the spreads don't have that quote at the bottom, even though it's still A5. It's so much more space to fill, but I actually really love having that extra space and having it be more of a blank canvas to kind of personalize. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.